The Galactic Peace Summit wasn't the kind of place where jokes were welcome. 100 alien species gathered on the orbital station Aurelian Prime, each with their own languages, customs, and tempers that could ignite wars over a wrong gesture or misplaced phrase. For Lieutenant Ryan Hale, the human representative from Earth's Exploration Corps, it was a diplomatic minefield, and he was the guy sent to dance through it. Humans had only joined the Galactic Council 2 years ago, still considered a developing species. Most of the others viewed them as impulsive, reckless, and far too emotional for serious politics. And they weren't wrong. Especially when Ryan got tired of standing around in uncomfortable armor while everyone else glared daggers across the table. He was assigned to assist the delegation from Zytheria, a reptilian yet graceful species known for their strategic brilliance and strict hierarchy. Their leader, High Emissary Tvara, was known for crushing fleets with a flick of her claw. But her daughter, Lady Celis Tvara, was something else entirely. She was young, by Zytherian standards. Curious. Too curious. While the others hissed at humans, she asked Ryan questions, endlessly. About Earth. About oceans. About laughter. Ryan wasn't used to being anyone's curiosity, much less a glowing-eyed alien woman with scaled silver skin and a regal voice that made half the station stand straighter when she spoke. One night after the council's formal dinner, Celis approached him on the viewing deck. The blue light from Aurelian's twin stars reflected off her scales as she studied the human soldier. "You humans," she said softly, "you form bonds so easily. You laugh in the middle of conflict. You speak to enemies as though they are friends. How do you not fall apart?" Ryan chuckled, leaning against the railing. "We almost do," he said. "We just pretend we're not scared." Her golden eyes flicked toward him. "Pretend," she repeated, testing the word. Interesting. They spoke for hours about music, dreams, the concept of love. And in a half-sleepy haze, Ryan joked, "If you ever come to Earth, I'll marry you myself." He expected her to hiss or laugh. Instead, she froze. Her pupils narrowed to slits. And then she whispered, "You would bond with me?" Ryan grinned. "Yeah, sure. You're beautiful, after all." He thought it was nothing. Just humor to ease the tension of alien politics. But in Zytherian culture, a marriage proposal was sacred, never spoken unless meant. Words were binding, considered the first stage of a life bond that could not be withdrawn. When Celis left the viewing deck that night, she was trembling, not with offense, but with something far deeper. And Ryan Hale had no idea he had just proposed to an alien noblewoman. Middle, the bond misunderstood. The next day, everything changed. Ryan woke up to find 2 Zytherian guards standing at his door. "Lieutenant Hale," one growled, "Lady Celis has summoned you." He was escorted to a vast chamber adorned with holographic banners and floating symbols of Zytherian houses. In the center stood Celis, her armor gleaming silver blue, and beside her, her mother, High Emissary Tvara, the most intimidating being Ryan had ever met. Tvara's tail coiled with slow menace. "Human," she hissed. "Is it true you have bonded with my daughter?" Ryan blinked. "I what?" "No. We just talked." Celis stepped forward, eyes shining. "You offered the bond willingly. You said, 'I'll marry you myself.'" Ryan's stomach dropped. That was a joke. The silence that followed could have frozen stars. To the Zytherians, marriage wasn't just a union. It was a declaration of alliance between bloodlines. A diplomatic promise. Ryan's joke was legally binding in their culture. By noon, the Galactic Council was buzzing with scandal. Some species laughed at humanity's reckless tongue, while others took it as a sign that humans were aligning with Zytheria. The human ambassador nearly fainted. Ryan tried to explain, Try to tell them it was just a misunderstanding. But Celis refused to back down. He spoke the words. He meant them. I will not allow him to dishonor the bond. That night, the two were placed under ceremonial observation, a polite way of saying house arrest together until the council decides what to do. And that's when Ryan finally saw the truth. Celis wasn't angry. She was terrified. Her people were pushing her into political arrangements she despised, cold, calculated alliances meant to strengthen Zytherian power. His accidental proposal had given her a way out, a chance to choose someone for herself. You don't understand, she said quietly as they sat in the confined chamber. Among my kind, a life bond cannot be forced. But if one is freely offered, she looked at him, trembling. They cannot undo it. You gave me that power. Ryan rubbed his face. So what? Now I'm your husband? She blinked. Not yet. But in their eyes, you are promised. And if you break that promise, your people will be seen as dishonorable. He groaned. Fantastic. I accidentally started an interstellar wedding. Celis tilted her head. Do humans always joke about sacred things? Only when we're nervous, he muttered. Her scales shimmered faintly. Then you were nervous about me? He looked up at her and, for the first time, saw something innocent beneath the armor, a woman who'd never been free to love, or laugh, or choose her path. Maybe it wasn't such a bad accident after all. Part 2, The Battle for Choice. 2 days later, all hell broke loose. A rival faction within the council, the Dravari Dominion, saw an opportunity to destabilize both humans and Zytherians. They claimed the bond was proof of a secret alliance and launched an attack on the orbital station. Explosions rocked the hull. Alarms blared. Ryan and Celis were separated amid chaos. Ryan grabbed a blaster from a fallen guard, sprinting through corridors filled with smoke and panicked diplomats. When he reached the airlock, he found Celis surrounded by Dravari troops, her staff shattered, armor sparking. Without hesitation, he charged in, just a human, against 10 armored soldiers. He wasn't the fastest or the strongest. But humans were stubborn, cunning, reckless. He used the environment, grabbing a fuel line, blasting the lock release, venting half the chamber into vacuum for a split second. The Dravari were thrown off balance, and Celis leapt into motion, her claws igniting with plasma. Together, they fought like a storm. When it was over, the chamber was silent, but for the hum of emergency lights. Celis turned to him, panting. Why would you risk your life for me? Ryan grinned, wiping blood from his cheek. Guess I'm just committed to this whole marriage thing. For a moment, she stared at him, then, to his surprise, laughed. It was soft, melodic, almost human. The council evacuated shortly after, but the story of their fight spread across the galaxy. A human soldier and an alien princess, fighting side by side. The symbolism was too powerful to ignore. The council ruled in their favor, declaring the bond a personal matter, not a political one. But the damage had been done. Among the Zytherians, Ryan Hale was now a bonded mate, an honorary noble, and the story of his courage became legend. Ending, what it means to be chosen. Weeks later, peace returned to Aurelian Prime. The summit concluded, and the human fleet prepared to leave orbit. Ryan stood at the docking bay, duffel over his shoulder, ready to go home. He'd made his report, survived a cultural disaster, and somehow prevented a war. He almost made it to his ship before hearing a familiar voice behind him. You didn't say goodbye. He turned. Celis stood there, wearing simple ceremonial robes instead of armor. Her scales glowed softly in the ship light. I didn't think you'd want to see me, he said. She stepped closer. You still don't understand. Among my kind, words hold power. You didn't just give me freedom, you gave me choice. And I choose you. Ryan's breath caught. Celis, I can't. Our worlds are. She placed her hand on his chest. Our worlds will follow what we show them. Then she smiled, an alien smile, sharp yet soft. You spoke the words first, human. Don't take them back now. He looked into her eyes and saw something he hadn't expected. Not politics, not obligation, but hope. A bridge between two species that never should have met, and yet did. He took her hand. Guess I'd better start learning your wedding customs. Celis tilted her head. First rule, no jokes. He laughed. No promises. The station lights dimmed as their ship engines roared to life, and somewhere between stars, a bond forged by accident became something more, a story whispered across galaxies about a human who joked about love and found it among the stars.